How happy were you with your aspect of that game?
Yeah, I mean, certainly pleased that we could play a role in the victory. The start with kickoff, that was a concern. Obviously, with the local kid. I mean, he against Ole Miss had a huge day and was doing it all season. And teams were kicking it away from him and giving Kentucky good field position. So to be able to kick it deep and having the confidence in our guys to cover, it was great coming out of the game and covering the kicks like we did. And I think even that last one, man, was that big. Talk about, being tight on the sideline on a kickoff. We went back and forth on whether we should kick it deep or kick it away from them, and just felt like kicking it away from them, they could, potentially just get good field position and almost be in field goal range right away. So we kick it deep. Guys did a great job of covering, and then he kind of dances around a little bit and takes some time off the clock, which ended up being critical as well. So, that was huge. And then the field goal block, the guys have been doing a good job, and Coach Lee talks about being a stone cutter and just pounding the rock, and at some point that stone's going to crack. And I think the field goal block unit is a really good microcosm of that kind of idea. Is you just got to keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, and that one time that you get penetration and get your hand up, maybe it's a little bit lower of a kick, and the trajectory is just right. So, the two guys that really stood out on that, obviously Clifton got the block, but it was also Christian James deserves a lot of credit for that. Just his get off at the line of scrimmage and the knockback he created to create a little space for Nate to get through there and get his hand up.
Was that a particular thing that there was an opportunity there that Kentucky presented, or was it just more you keep pounding away and you're going to get one somewhere against somebody?
Yeah, if you look back at their season, they've struggled a little bit on field goal, and there were some lower kicks that were blocked, some that were, almost just kicked in the back of the offensive line. So we knew we had an opportunity, and scheme-wise, it's not necessarily a big scheme thing. It's just a matter of making the players understand that, man, just make sure you're going hard every time because you're going to have an opportunity to get one.
How crucial have the tight ends been with the injuries on the offensive line?
Yeah, they've been big. Obviously we're playing a lot of tight ends in terms of our personnel groupings, and I think what helps a lot is just having the two older guys. There's a lot of communication in run blocking schemes and protections, and two older guys that know what's going on can help make sure that communication is clear all across the front.
Your special teams units have a lot of walk-ons on them. How vital are those guys to your operation?
Yeah, they're critical, and they're critical. And I think that's one of the challenges at a place like Vanderbilt is finding quality walk-ons that are academically, eligible to get into school. And but we've got some great ones. And Barton Simmons and the recruiting staff has done a great job of adding some guys. And when you're a walk-on and you're not playing a lot on offense and defense, it allows you to really dive into the film study and to really know what you're responsible for on special teams. And those guys have embraced that and have met extra to really understand their jobs and responsibilities.
How personally gratifying to you was that Kentucky win, given that you've been here almost as long as Clark has?
Maybe one of the best wins of my career. In bowl wins and championships and at different levels, and that one, I'm getting goosebumps right now just thinking about it. And I think it's more of what we've been through. Obviously our first year here, and I think the thing that went through my mind for sure is like the senior tight ends, Gavin and Ben, what they've been through their careers, with coaching changes, with COVID, with buying into what we're doing, and just so happy for those guys that they can enjoy a win like that in their senior year.
What challenges does Florida present you on special teams?
Yeah, it starts with just athletes, talent level all across the board. In the return game, you got number 3 is a punt return, is a big receiver for them. That's a physical returner that's done it and can break tackles. And then the Etienne kid is their kick returner. So it starts with that. We got to do a great job of getting off blocks, eliminating space. Our specialists got to do a great job with the location of their kicks. And but yeah, certainly a challenge. And then in the return game, it's matching up to those athletes on the perimeter. And but yeah, we're up for it and we're excited about it.
I think signing day is like a month away. How does a win like that, Kentucky win, help you guys in general? Especially when probably with some of your better commits, other schools are attempting to get in there.
Sure. Yeah, I think as a coaching staff and me in particular, you feel like I am so confident. I'm so confident in what Coach Lee's doing and where we're going and the direction we're going. However, from the outside, everybody wants evidence, and that's the recruits too. And so when you can give them evidence, that's huge. And so that win for us is evidence of the direction of the program. But yeah, I mean, one of the best things is a win like that, and you grab your phone at the end in the locker room and you got a bunch of texts, and a lot of them were from recruits and their families.
Yeah, a lot of fun. My dad was there, and like I still remember, like I didn't react when Q caught the big ball, didn't react when Shep scored, but when that last interception, I was like, let's go, like finally. So and it's just the accumulation of work, and it's funny because we thought it was going to happen last year in South Carolina, thought it was going to happen Ole Miss, thought it was going to happen Mizzou, and then finally we had our breakthrough moment. So really, really cool, and definitely a moment that I'll cherish. That was long overdue.
How different is this week of practice in the light of getting a win like that?
I don't know if our approach changes. I would just say, morale is a little lifted, and I think that's natural. Just guys feeling good about the win. But I think also too, I've been a little bit surprised with how well we've been able to refocus. That was honestly something that the captains were talking about as well. Obviously, we're coming off the high of a win, but like we got to get back to our process and what led us to that win too, because it's easy to come out here and feel good about yourself and just lollygag around. I honestly thought it was one of our better practices in a couple months.
Well, you guys have had some disappointments the last few weeks, and we only get to see a few minutes of practice, but it feels like the energy has been good. People's heads have been up. How have you guys managed that? How much did that have to do with being able to put it together to win in Lexington?
Yeah, I think that's what I said earlier, like the accumulation of work. I mean, we're mid-November and we're still out here full pads hitting good on good. Like I don't know if every program in the country is doing that. And so that's what it's the constant getting better, and we want to be playing our best ball at the end of the year. Obviously got big opponents like Kentucky, Florida, and then the orange team later in November. So we want to be playing our best ball at the end of the year, and so they have a design to do that, and it's our job to follow it. And I think we've done a good job.
I mean, just working it every day in practice. I mean, you just saw us out there working a little extra after practice, just pass rush, get offs, and our hands with Coach Black, Coach Hay, and Coach Howell calling a great game up top of the box to get us some opportunities to do such a thing. So it's a culmination of a lot of things, and I was excited to see us finally get back there and get some sacks.
Does it make it a little easier to come to practice this time of year when everybody's beat up and everything, when you get a big win like that?
I mean, we try to keep the same process every day. So whether we won or lost the last game, or whether the weather is nice or not, we try to take the same approach every day. So we're excited to come to every day in practice, and we start that in the warm-up with our ready and set, and try to get ready to go from the jump. So I mean, Coach Lee does a great job starting us off in the morning too. So I don't think there's any real difference.
You've been through, the knee stuff and the SEC losing streak. I mean, what did that win mean to you?
I mean, it felt great. I felt great, honestly. It felt like a great building block for the program moving forward. We felt like we could have built on some of the lessons learned from the losses the past couple weeks, but especially to see a good result and a win we could build on that for this program going forward. It felt great for me personally as well, and some of the older guys, because we've been through some tough losses here. So it felt great for the older guys and for the majority of the team, for everybody, honestly.
What can you guys now take from that in terms of taking the next step? Like, you've got Florida this weekend and home game against the team that on paper has a similar record to Kentucky. Like, what now that you guys got over the hump, how does that help you?
Well, honestly, we try not to attach that result. It allows us to push us anywhere moving forward. Our main goal is to play at the highest level of the team. We did not do that last week. We won, but we did not play at the highest level. So going into this week, it's the same thing. Try to play at the highest level of the team, and we'll do that. We'll be fine.
Florida has a really good rushing offense. What do you see from them there, and what are going to be the keys to stopping that?
The key to stopping them, just stay structured within our defense, and whatever Coach House calls to play that structure, we go tackle the running backs, tackle the quarterback, we'll be fine.
How do you handle Anthony Richardson? Because he's a nightmare if he gets in the open field.
I mean, yeah, we have a good guy, Mike Wright, we practice against every day, who's a pretty good runner himself, so he gives us nice little practice, and we have a good structure here to keep him in the cage, keep him in the pocket, and tackle him. We just got to bring him down like every other running back, every other quarterback we played this year.